I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you strong. Let's break it down.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us. Let's start with a simple introduction, shall we? What's your name? Well, that depends. Up until a year ago, I went by my legal name. These days, I go by my preferred name, which is my chosen name. So unless this is a legal matter, I prefer to keep my legal name to myself. Otherwise, my chosen name is Violet, or V for short. For the record, my full name is Violet Dreamwalkar Rose. In most video games, online or otherwise, I typically use the name Dreamwalkar and have for the past 10 years or so. So I decided for various reasons alongside that it should simply become my new middle name as well. Well, that all seems to make sense. It's a pleasure to meet you, Violet. Or if I may, it's a pleasure to meet you, V. Yes, you may, and likewise, it's a pleasure to finally be here. Care to elaborate on that a bit? What you meant by finally be here? Well, it's difficult to explain, which is why I'm writing my series of books that unravel it instead. So I'll try to be brief and to the point without ruining anything that's yet to come in Volume 2. For me, the entity that is my holistic self has been dormant or otherwise asleep within my being since I was about 14 years old. That's where I'll leave it for now. If you want to know more, buy Volume 1 and help support the creation of Volume 2 where I disclose the full story. That's a long time to be asleep though. Tell me about it. Still, that's information for another time. Fair enough. Let's crack into our first question then. Do you have any formal training or education as a writer prior to publishing your new book? Nope. I just wrote it because I felt it needed to be written. I actually didn't set out to write a book initially. It just sort of worked out that way. So, now that my first book is officially published in a version I'm truly happy with, I can confidently accept the professional title of author. Thankfully, I don't yet need a degree to do that. Just my first published book. Did you have anyone help you with the editing or overall design for the book, its structure, or its cover? Nope. Did it all myself. Interesting. So, what's this book of yours about exactly? Well, my book is essentially about me, my life, and how I think humans can and should unite to save each other and this world we all share. It's meant to be something that cuts through the usual bullshit people fight about and instead shows people from all areas of the world what really connects us together. It's meant to showcase the lies we've all been forced to live through and how we can finally rectify the situation once and for all, so that everyone can live peacefully, should they choose to. That's a pretty bold statement there. You really think your book does all that in just 60 pages? Yes I do. And for as little as $4.99, you can find out for yourself. Okay, point made. Now, if I may, I'd like to ask you a question about the contents of your book if you don't mind. Oh, sure thing. Which part? In the later pages of it, you mentioned that you weren't sure if you'd be around for much longer and that things might come to an end for you in the very near future. Care to elaborate on that? Honestly, no, I don't. It's okay that you asked though. My book isn't exactly an easy read even though it's only 60 pages as you mentioned. I crammed a ton of information into those pages using my own style of writing and blend of personal fantasy. So if you want to know the answer to that question, you'll have to buy a copy of my book and read it for yourself. I will say this about it though. The contents of my book are what I believe in, and I won't give up until it shines bright enough for all to see. Okay, that seems fair. Do you have a set number in mind of how many copies you'll need to sell throughout the time you have left? Aside from as many as possible, that is. Yes, but I don't believe that information is necessary to provide at this time. Until I have any actual hope of reaching that goal, I don't see it as relevant information to anyone apart from myself. I'm not looking for people to buy my book as a charity statement. I want people to buy my book because they are genuinely curious as to what I have to say regarding myself, our shared world, and how we can fix it for everyone. Personally, when I was developing it and trying to decide on a pricing structure, I ended up deciding I wanted it to be in the same ballpark as a cup of coffee. A cup of coffee, huh? Gotta say, that's some upper class coffee in a lot of cases. Well, in my experience, there are millions of people who buy Starbucks and other niche coffee for around $10 or so every single day. My book is no more than $15 one time, plus applicable taxes, of course. So for a fraction of the price you actually spend on coffee, you could instead get yourself a copy of my book and enlighten yourself to the painful beauty that is our shared reality and how we can make it better and stabilize it for everyone. At the same time, you'll learn a bit about me, the type of human I am, and maybe, I don't know, just maybe, gain a broader understanding of things in our shared world as a whole. Not to mention, it's not like designing the entire book front to back all by my lonesome was exactly an easy thing to do. It's effectively a lifetime of work and understanding crammed into 60 pages. I'm usually more humble than that, but what can I say? I worked hard for this. Well, I'd say that sounds at least reasonable, but yet another very bold statement. I know. To be honest, my book is the backbone of my confidence next to my transition, and as I said, I work hard for my shit in every way. So to those who doubt me or my book, I guess you'll just have to buy a copy and read it for yourself to find out if I'm full of shit or not. Touché. Well, V, you mentioned in your synopsis that your book is next of kin to that of what Thomas Paine wrote back in 1776, entitled simply Common Sense. Yes. Is that your question, or is this going somewhere? Yes, sorry, it's going somewhere. What I'm wondering is this. History shows that back in 1776, when Thomas Paine published his work, he then provided it to the public for free. Why aren't you following suit with that action if your story is so important for people to read and or hear? Damn, that's a good question. As I said, I work hard for my shit. Jesting aside, I very much wanted to do that if I'm open about it. And in one small way, I managed to do just that. Anyone who is a Kindle Unlimited member can read my book for free. That was the best I could do in our modern capitalist society. I have bills and need to eat too, you know. At least until people start to understand my message and we finally change this fucked up world we all currently live in. Well, looks like you managed to cover all the bases. Alright, next question. Recently you posted about your new book release. Care to share any details regarding why your new reintroduction video seems to have replaced your original one? Sure, I suppose I could do that. Yes, you nailed it. I made a new video and used it as a replacement for the old one. After completing the revisions of the second edition and having finally reached my personal goals, it became clear to me that a new promotional video for it would be needed to help create awareness about it. That, and I also needed a way to provide the updates I had been steadily working on the past few months. Same with doing this interview. Alright then, I'd say that answers that. So now that you're finished with Volume 1, what's next? While I'm periodically working on Volume 2 in my free time, I'll otherwise be streaming on Twitch until at least the end of 2025. I may continue into 2026, but it depends entirely on how this next 10 weeks or so actually ends up going. Fair enough. Okay, last question. What can viewers who join your streams expect to see? Why should they follow or subscribe to you? Well, it's pretty simple really. They can expect to see me living life, continuing to work on improving myself, and playing various games in very much the same way. As I steadily conquer my phobia of being on camera, I'll gradually pay more attention to the chat and respond to viewers as I notice things pop up. I'll add that the more people that decide to follow and subscribe, the faster I'll engage with a growing audience. To answer your secondary question, if those who see this want to show their support, I would recommend the thing they do is buy my book, as that helps support me directly. Otherwise, dropping a like on my videos, subscribing to my YouTube channel, and or following me on Twitch is a small thing anyone can do for free to help me grow and increase my chances of succeeding before it's too late. I welcome anyone who enjoys my content to follow me on Twitch and subscribe to my YouTube channel simply to receive updates on when I post new content and to know when I go live. I don't know about anyone that's watching, but I'd say that all sounds quite reasonable to me. That also seems to bring us to a close. V, is there anything you'd like to say to the audience as we wrap things up? Actually, yes. To anyone watching this, I'd like to say this before we close this out. You might be alone in this world as I am, or at least feel that way as I often do, but if you're seeing this, know that that simply isn't true no matter how much you may feel that it is. Same as it isn't true for me. Even in the darkest of times, including those taking place within ourselves, it's the smallest of lights that will always be there to brighten the path forward. One must simply look to find them. My book is meant to be just that for you all, both while I'm around to talk about it and long after I'm gone. I sincerely hope you give me a chance, and thank you kindly for your time. V, I think that's a wonderful note to end on. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you, and likewise. It's been a pleasure to have been here. As always, thanks for watching. Until next time.
You have a dream, then act on it, get after it, get out your head and fucking capture it. You got one life to master it. Don't give up on your future. We all start losers. We're all late bloomers, gotta shove them through the sewer.
What you say? Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build